This is a story about Inglewood Mayor James Butts and how he just can't seem to control his temper, which causes him to lie, violate rules of city council meetings, break the law and violate civil rights, and overall do and say things that are threatening, unprofessional, unethical, and illegal, and which make him unfit to be mayor.
Who does that? Who does that?
The proposition of this video is that James Butts is an inherently angry and sometimes unbelievably violent person, and that this disqualifies him from being Inglewood's mayor. Today we will see shocking evidence that James Butts' angry personality, his documented violent past, and his current power as mayor have caused him, his supporters, and even, allegedly, one family member to believe that threats and violence are perfectly appropriate ways to handle your problems. And that Butts thinks that threats and violence are a perfectly appropriate part of his city council meetings, as long as it's him or his supporters doing the threatening. Here are just a few examples where James Butts' supporters made blatant threats of violence at a city council meeting, and James Butts not only didn't sanction his supporters for their threatening actions, but usually broke the rules to help them do it. James Butts allowed his supporter to threaten someone with bodily harm and violation of their civil rights, just because Bailey said that the man had insulted the mayor. And here it is.
As of next Tuesday, our evening meeting, I will be waiting downstairs to ask him what his intentions are in this chambers. If he will be respectful, he will be allowed to come up. If not, he will be forcibly removed by me.
And up until late 2015, this woman, Ethel Austin, was James Butts' biggest supporter.
So what is going on with this world? And you could laugh all you want, because when you're wrong, you don't admit it. You're ignorant. You're an old ignorant fool. That's what you are. And a lot of you all should be barred out of here. See that laughing, how stupid and ignorant he is to be so old? An old damn fool.
Miss Austin just violated 4 areas of the rules of decorum for the meetings. She made loud, personal, abusive, and profane comments. But as long as she's directing those comments towards James Butts' critics, Butts stays quiet. Hey, but at least she didn't make any threatening comments, right? Oh, wait a minute. She wasn't done yet.
Yeah, but everybody else get 30 minutes. Buy that man out before somebody hurt that man.
And there it is. And when a mayor demonstrates approval for his supporters being more and more abusive and more threatening, his supporters naturally get more and more abusive and more threatening. For instance, let's see how Miss Austin reacts when someone finally calls out her threatening behavior, and let's see how James Butts reacts when Miss Austin literally loses control of herself.
Willie Brown, Ethel Austin, and Stuart Bailey stand at this podium and yell and curse and imply or actually threaten me with violent or illegal acts. Butts never tells the public that any of them are threats to public safety.
If Miss Austin was a critic of James Butts, the Sergeant of Arms would be removing her from the meeting right now. But because Miss Austin was James Butts' favorite attack dog, she's allowed to stay. Imagine how you would feel if you went to a city council meeting and everyone knew that if you said something that the mayor didn't like, you could not only be ejected, but that you would have to deal with his supporters yelling at you, verbally and physically threatening you, and being allowed to stay in the meeting after they did so.
And James Butts allows Ethel Austin to stand here and yell at people in the audience and use profanity and use bigoted slurs to attack not only me, but Butts and other critics. And Butts allowed her to stand here and threaten me, saying, quote, "Bar that man out before someone hurt that man." That's what she said, speaking about me. Before someone hurt that man. That's what she said on videotape at a city council with Butts listening.
And this is Butts supporter Willie Agee. Before Agee accosted me at a council meeting, I had only seen him pick on the elderly. But when you've got a ruthless mayor on your side, you start to get cocky. AG would regularly harass Butts' critics, and at one council meeting, AG didn't like my comments and angrily backed me up over 20 feet into an elevator, where some of the people behind him, including the police commissioner, finally had to restrain him, pulling him out of the elevator away from me. So as was stated earlier, not only is James Butts an angry and reportedly violent person himself, but he actually encourages threats of violence and other intimidation in Inglewood City Council meetings, as long as it's his supporters doing the threatening and intimidation. And again, when Butts supporters know that they have the mayor on their side, they feel confident in engaging in threats and violence. And if they can feel that confident about threats and violence only knowing a violent mayor, how confident might you be, allegedly, if you were actually raised by that violent mayor?
The fact that she's the mayor's daughter and she thinks she can get away with it, that's the main thing that hurts.
This victim, who does not want his face shown or name used, is looking for justice. He says his ex-tenant, Ashley Melissa Butts, daughter of Inglewood Mayor James Butts, arranged for a man to attack him at his home back in April.
I see a guy in all black with a white skull mask pointing a gun at me. And when I saw him, automatically I said, "Oh my goodness, what's going on?" And he said, "Yeah, you know what time it is."
The victim says after the man beat him with a baseball bat, he shot him but missed. He says he was suspicious of Butts from the beginning.
She never called 911 right away, because if you heard the commotion, you should have been calling 911. And right away, right after he left, I accused her. I said, "Ashley, really, for real, Ashley?" She never responded. She never said anything.
We contacted Mayor James Butts for comment and have not heard back.
So if James Butts' supporters feel invulnerable to repercussions from violent acts and statements, James Butts, as a mayor, must feel an even higher level of invulnerability. In fact, at the June 12, 2018 council meeting, Butts' overconfidence in his invulnerability got the best of him. After apparently getting angry after he was twice criticized in the meeting by a female resident, Diane Sembrano, Butts adjourned the meeting, shuffled some papers while faced forward, and stated, quote, "Go choke yourself, Diane." Now, James Butts was not whispering when he made this threatening statement, so whether he said it trying to have Miss Sembrano hear him, to intimidate her, or whether he just said it and didn't care if Miss Sembrano heard him, risking that she would feel threatened, he was still making a threatening statement that was heard by others at a city council meeting about a female constituent who is literally half his size.
Yeah. Any other public comment?
Council members, I don't know that most.
And this is Ms. Diane Sembrano, a longtime Inglewood resident, an Inglewood historian, and someone who is active in many aspects of Inglewood's community. Ms. Sembrano has at times been critical of James Butts on many issues. Ms. Sembrano has made so many apparently valid criticisms in council meetings that James Butts commonly uses part of his time for closing comments at the end of the meetings just to try to rebut Ms. Sembrano's complaints and or allegations.
And at the expense of this community is not appropriate. That's unfortunate that you have chosen to come here, apparently for a short period of time, get what you can and move on, without considering how negatively your decisions of 5 of you affect the residents of this community who put their lives and their homes here.
James Butts is so irritated by Miss Sembrano that he regularly abuses his power as mayor, sometimes illegally, to pick on her or childishly annoy her while she's speaking to make it hard for her to finish her comments.
Any persons wishing to address City Council, the Accessory Agency Housing Authority, on any item of today's agenda may do so at this time. Hearing no comment. No, I saw you look around, Ms. Sembrano, please.
Yes, I thought the lady was going to come up here and I wasn't going to interrupt her.
So Ms. Sembrano hesitated a moment to avoid interrupting another speaker. Let's see if Butts shows that courtesy to Ms. Sembrano or childishly interrupts her.
So, did she get input as to what's on that billboard? No.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
She never will. You don't need to respond to me. This is my time to speak.
No, you're right.
Absolutely. It is my time to speak. I have 3 minutes, and I would appreciate that to be uninterrupted.
So now that we have some background on the mayor, Miss Zambrano's history, let's see what actually happened at the June 12th Inglewood City Council meeting.
Okay.
My name is Diane Zambrano, and it's interesting to hear all that talk about caring so much about the community, and yet one of the major meetings having to do with what's going to be running through our community is being held at Playa Vista. I don't know how we plan on including our community in that.
So at the June 12th meeting, during her first comments on agenda items, Ms. Zambrano raised concerns about the public's access to meetings, the fact that seniors had to pay for parking at the senior center when some city employees' salaries were significantly more than those in much bigger cities with many more residents. And during her public comments on non-agenda items, Ms. Zambrano talked about the city not giving proper notifications for community meetings and possible conflicts of interest city council members might have that would negatively affect Inglewood's residents. Now, it's obvious that Ms. Zambrano wasn't angry, and her complaints weren't that vicious. However, James Butts is just an angry bully. And like I said, little Miss Zambrano coming up week after week boldly criticizing James Butts and the 4 other men of the council just irritates him. So he regularly takes time during his closing comments to try to specifically rebut what Miss Zambrano talks about. And this night there was obviously something, or a number of things, that Miss Zambrano talked about that upset James Butts. Upset him so much that what he wanted to say, what he felt he had to say out loud, couldn't be said during his closing comments.
So, thank you everybody, and with that we're adjourned. Go choke yourself, Diane. Look at that. Go choke yourself, Diane. Go choke yourself, Diane. Look at that.
So there it is. James Butts, with his clear history of promoting threats and violence in city council meetings, got angry. Again. And said, "Go choke yourself" to one of his female constituents at a city council meeting, surrounded by his 4 male council members. Now, I don't know why James Butts got that mad this time, but he said what he said at a city council meeting, and Diane Zambrano knew about it.
Good evening, council members. First off, let me share with you that I don't appreciate anyone, not even the mayor, suggesting that I choke myself in a public meeting. That was uncalled for. I just wonder how many workplace situations are going to be created where someone sues us for a hostile work environment that you created but will have to pay for. That is really kind
And
of
I will
sad.
bet you that as of that moment, when James Butts was publicly chastised by Ms. Zambrano for talking about a woman getting choked, the mayor who made the choking statement, any council members that heard the choking statement, and the city manager and city attorney who, if they didn't hear the choking statement, knew Butts probably made it, went into DEFCON 1. Because everyone knew how bad it looked for a mayor to make a choking statement about a woman. And they all knew how much worse it was that this mayor made a choking statement about a woman, because the LA Times reported that one of Butts' daughters, when she was a child, had called police to report that Butts had gotten so angry that he had choked his first wife into unconsciousness. And the investigation of the incident resulted in a UCLA psychologist interviewing Butts' daughter and finding that Butts also beat his daughter. So any idiot should know that this is the very last man in the world that should allow the word choke to come out of his mouth when the subject is a woman, let alone in public at a city council meeting when he's a mayor. Now, it probably took James Butts' gang a while to figure out exactly what to do, considering the video had already been posted in its entirety for weeks. But at some point, I went to the city's YouTube channel, and this...
So, thank you everybody, and with that we're adjourned.
had been edited into this.
So, thank you everybody, and with that we're adjourned.
The video ends and goes on to the next city video. Now, it's very important to note at this point that it is a documented fact, documented through this letter from the Inglewood City Attorney in response to a public records request, that it is the city's claim that, quote, council meeting videos are done real time and are not edited at a later date, unquote. However, here's the original video.
So, thank you everybody, and with that we're adjourned. Go choke yourself,
And here's the edited video.
So, thank you everybody, and with that we're adjourned.
Don't believe me, go look at it yourself. Now, it would be extremely difficult and expensive to fake the mayor and the other councilmen's voices, but it's the extra footage in the original video, plus the timestamps we're about to see, that prove beyond any doubt that the official June 12, 2018 Inglewood City Council meeting was edited to remove the mayor's threatening comment to or about Ms. Sembrano. As we can see, the total running time of the edited video is only 41 minutes and 9 seconds. Now, when I first discovered the mayor's threatening statement, I taped that part of the meeting with my phone. After Butt's crew deleted the end of the video, I had to take a video of my phone screen showing a video of my TV. But you can still clearly see all of the commotion at the end of the meeting that was erased from the edited video. And you can see the total time for the original video listed as 41 minutes and 27 seconds, proving that 18 seconds was erased from the original video. So Ms. Sembrano was understandably shaken by James Butts telling her to choke herself at a council meeting. But she was also not happy with the fact that after she exposed James Butts' documented misconduct, that Butts' gang destroyed the video evidence.
Council members, how sad it is that you feel compelled to always praise, 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 and praise. And I guess because I don't always praise is the reason you felt compelled to suggest I choke myself. And then the miraculous thing is you had somebody go back and edit it? Oh my goodness, that leads me to ask the question, how many of those years that you were as a police chief did you have people cover up things that were done inappropriately? We know about the Miranda warning. We know about a lot of other things, clearly MSG, the Cooper KP Auto, lots and lots of things. But you know, it's not being responsible and apologizing when you do wrong that will probably end up costing this community many more hundreds of thousands of dollars in hostile work environment situations. Threatening or suggesting, at least we know that you suggested I choke myself. Can't deny that one.
Thank you, Ms. Sembrano.
So Ms. Sembrano gave Butts 2 chances to confirm or deny her allegation. But James Butts probably knew that it was a bad idea to deny that he had made the choking statement because he had said it in public, and the video was posted for a while. And he knew for a fact that it would be a terrible idea to admit that he had made the choking statement because it might ruin his career. So he just decided to keep his mouth shut. So I decided to go to the next council meeting and see what I could do about that. So with all the evidence compiled and verified, it was time to go confront Mayor James Butts and watch him do what he does best: lie. Good afternoon. I'd like the mayor to clear something up. Ms. Diane Sembrano has repeatedly claimed that on June 12th, you sat up there and uttered the words, quote, "Go choke yourself, Diane," unquote. but I haven't heard you apologize or even deny that you made this blatantly unprofessional, threatening, and misogynistic statement. So, Mr. Butts, could you please tell everyone here whether or not you sat on this dais and uttered the words, "Go choke yourself, Diane"?
I did not. I did not. I did not. And with that, we're adjourned. Go choke yourself, Diane.